Welcome to the downside.
Oh, we're starting.
I'm in a bad place emotionally.
Yes.
We did a recording, which you've already heard. This episode is coming out June 27th. We did a recording 2 weeks ago with Divya.
Mm-hmm.
What was the last name?
Come on now.
Okay, and she's a taxidermist. Took a class to prep for this episode.
Uh-huh.
And then about 20 minutes, it sounded great. Great clips.
We tested it.
We
was
released
all good.
it, so I hope you listened to it. Some of you might have checked out because the audio changed. Here's what it was. Here's the playback of this great episode.
Like, that body comes away in like one little package. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember it. It's in my dreams every night.
So the dissection, like something that the surgeon has to do, where they're like going in.
Sorry
and
to add to your sound. Did you open here now?
Or something like the pathologist has to do, where they have to go in and like dig out like a
I don't mind it.
I love it. It's like ASMR. Is this ASMR?
This is like ASMR for the Terminator. Like this is how he falls asleep at night. It's as
And
if
there's no reason. We didn't push any buttons.
No. It's you go on Reddit and they say, "Oh, it happens sometimes." The part that bothers me is we should have heard it on the headphones.
Yeah.
That's fine. We hear it on the headphones. Go, something's wrong. Stop the recording.
Yeah.
But literally, the box and the backup recording, and so it came out 2 weeks ago. And we're recording this now. Everything's out of order.
I think the thing is too that you did take a class. You took a test.
An expensive. And Paige took a class.
Yeah.
I touched a dead mouse.
It was so expensive
I
you wouldn't even
stuffed this
pay for
mouse.
me to do it.
Taxidermy?
Taxidermy. That's this mouse.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
But it's so cute on that stool.
Thank you.
So that's real? Well, I mean, like,
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's probably why the sound was so affected, is that's like such a demonic practice that, demons
Maybe.
came into your sound system.
That's when I went to Guitar Center. They said that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
And then I fucking deal with Guitar Center. I don't know if you've been to any of these places. These
I go to B&H.
I should have gone to B&H.
Yeah.
But Guitar Center, I call, I'm on hold, 10 minutes, hang up, call, and I say, "Hey, what's going on? What's going on?" They say, "Oh, the podcast guys, they don't like picking up." And I go, "Then close the store. What are we doing?" So I'm having a full-on anxiety attack. And the way I decided to deal with my anxiety last night at 1:30 in the morning, my Delta flights are not showing up in my calendar, and I said, "You know what? Let's call them now. Let's call Delta now. Let's do this right now."
You decided to get with
1:30 in the morning.
Customer service at 1:30 in the morning.
1:30 in the morning. I said, "Well, surely they can't have an unexpected call volume at 1:30 in the morning." Guess what they did? And it did not go well. I should not have done that.
Yeah, no.
Because you're not going from that to sleep.
Yeah.
You're not going.
Oh my God.
Because they didn't resolve the issue.
No.
So I just kept failing. And really excited to welcome our guest today. Such a big guest that's why when the fucking box broke, I said, "Well, we got to fix it now."
At least it wasn't with this guest. I mean, not
Yeah.
that it was good that it was with Divya, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying like.
Sorry, Divya. Not enough Instagram followers to care about your episode for Russell
I'm
Daniels.
saying because I'm actually friends with this guest, and that's why I care more. This has nothing to do with Divya.
I agree with all of this. Just,
Yeah.
Please welcome to the podcast, Rosé.
Hi.
Hi. And also, we have producer Paige Asachika here.
Yes.
Hello.
And we have my co-host, Russell Daniels.
Yes.
This is The Downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with
you know the
Gianmarco
song already?
Soresi.
I was studying earlier, yeah.
Studying.
I was.
So, listen.
What the fuck am I getting myself into?
Go back to the Divya episode if you bailed out because in 20 minutes in, it started sounding a little bit. You heard that air conditioner.
Yeah.
Feel it. Feel it.
Yeah.
We wanted to make you feel cool.
I feel like you're in the room with us.
Please listen to it. It was such a good fucking episode. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/downside for bonus episodes, live episodes, including our upcoming one with Molly Carney from Saturday Night Live, and patreon.com/downside. And my clean comedy special, The Rats Are In Me. What a day to have you. You're visiting New York. You don't live here.
No, I live here.
You do live here.
Yeah. I mean, I am technically visiting because we're all gonna die at some point. But
Maybe sooner than later, given what's going on outside right now.
Oh, honey, I went to LA a couple days ago and it was so gloomy. I was like, okay, so I took New York with me. Came back, there's fucking wildfire air. I was like, I brought LA back with me. This is crazy.
So how often? So we're recording this. What's today? The
June 7th.
June 7th. It's horrifying outside.
Is this the first?
Mars.
It wasn't like this yesterday, right? Because I wasn't here yesterday.
It was, but not like this. Not
the
this
smoke,
like
there's
orange
smog.
air.
The orange, yeah.
Well, last night as I'm trying to deal with the anxiety and night terrors, I went in the living room to sleep. It was as if I was sleeping in the smoking section of a restaurant.
Yeah.
It was just it's.
Oh, you had
vile.
your windows open.
No, I think it's just the AC. Enough room was open that it felt like cigarettes. They say 24 hours outside is like smoking 6 cigarettes. Or like sitting next to Russell after a night out.
Okay.
But that's what they say. 6. That's the number that they came up with.
Yeah.
That if you go outside for 24 hours.
Yes.
Oh well, 6. That's nothing. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
How long is this supposed to happen for? Does anyone know? So I heard Friday.
Well, I didn't even know there was a fire up north. So
Well,
like,
we
is the fire
we
out?
didn't either.
Is
That's
the fire out, or is it? I know that this is like breaking news coverage. I was supposed to have something air today on CBS, and they pushed it back to Friday. Because it's Wednesday now. They pushed it back to Friday because they were like, "Hey, we have to do a whole evening of coverage on the smog, on the haze."
What I feel bad about
pumped
is
by
it doesn't
smog.
feel like it's the coverage of the fire in Canada. It's of it impacting us here in New York.
Oh, yeah.
But
Were you suddenly concerned about Canadian
well,
forests?
no, I didn't know there was a fire happening. It's all of a sudden you're like, what's going on? And then you
Sure.
find out. Like it's crazy that it seems like it's big. It seems like all of Canada is on fire with how much smoke we have in New York.
And it has
Not-
that like twist of like just like a maple scent to it. The air, it's very Canadian.
It's a very polite smog. really says, pardon me. Well, Paige, you're closer to LA.
Yeah.
Your home.
Yeah.
Have you dealt with this before?
Of course. Every summer.
Every summer?
For like my entire life, pretty much.
So is this nothing to you?
I mean, this is pretty bad. Like, I think it's up there on the scale, but this is something that it's like kind of normal to me, which I hate to say. But
Wow.
yeah, living in California is like this pretty much like at least every
So you have
summer.
the lungs of like a 60-year-old smoker.
Probably. I had asthma as a child. I don't know if that had anything to do with it.
I would imagine. I feel like I have asthma now. Someone yelled at me in the street, put on a mask.
They yelled at
Put
you.
on a mask.
Well, okay, but I've been outside all day wearing a mask literally to survive. I cannot breathe. And I can't believe how many people aren't wearing them. I'm like, y'all, like that's literally what they're for. You're going to feel like shit tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm wearing one.
I had to go buy some. Guess how much? How much a box of 50 of the shittiest masks that don't even do anything, that dissolve?
Are they K95?
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, then what are they?
Dwayne Reed.
Then why are you
Dwayne-
buying them? They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
I gotta do something. I gotta do something. What do you think? What's the price? 50. 50 of the shittiest masks. You
$39.
It was 25, which
I was
was
gonna say-
ridiculous.
I was going to say 20.
It was ridiculous.
So middle ground. Yeah.
And now here's a point of why you should complain sometimes. As they told me the price, I said, fucking ridiculous. And they gave me a second box for free.
Oh, this is great.
So whenever you
Now
Complaining
you have
works.
2 useless boxes of masks
useless,
that do nothing
if I wear
to save
60
you.
at a time,
Yeah.
it's like what Fauci finally had said on the New York Times. He did some interview. He was like, yeah, masks were like 10% effective. I was like, Fauci, don't say this out loud. At this point, just lie to us. Just lie to us.
10%
There's
is a
no
lot when you're
point to
talking
it.
about the world, though, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it's so good to have you here.
yes.
I finally a friend of mine. Not that you've had tons of friends of yours on here, but I feel like I'm a little nervous, bringing 2 friends together for the first time.
Yes.
You should be so nervous.
I am.
You know?
Well, it's a real, as Russell's like good friend, like he has this new Titanic world.
Mm-hmm.
And he like posts
It's totally a
emotional
world.
Instagram posts about like, you meant so much to me. And what'd you say?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's like a world because I was just in it too. It's like it's a world. It is. It's crazy. Brings out like fabulous emotions and like like I don't know. It's great. I was just thinking, y'all have a show tonight. Everybody's gonna be like,
I know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we're doing it. They're not going to. They're not going to cancel.
They just LOL Comedy Club just canceled all the shows tonight, and that's
Did they really?
yeah. I imagine because there's not a lot of foot traffic, but it's not for the health of the comedians. I'll tell you that right now. I always knew a guy had a stroke after eating the guacamole there. It is not that. No, but it's also, I also think what's funny about it, your Titanic world is like I'm a musical theater kid. I had a lot of like gay friends in college where as they went into the real world, we had like different, there was a whole group of friends that I never interacted with because, they would go to the gay clubs with them. And that's where like our friendship stopped.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like with Titanic, even though you're my straight friend, you have this very gay Titanic world where you're going to the clubs, and it's like you're just another one of my gay friends now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Russell fits right into it.
Yeah.
I mean, we all say Russell is just the ultimate ally. I recently renamed it. He's had several,
ultimate ally.
The ultimate ally, and has had several drag names throughout the process of Titanic.
Yeah.
Started out with, what was it, Girliana Grande?
Girliana Grande.
And then recently we decided perhaps a name, like an alter ego within the alter ego, Ally McBeal.
Wow, this is fun. I do like this. I'm learning a whole new side of Russell.
Yeah.
So you consider yourself a really great ally?
I do. I stand up to bullies in the dressing room.
He does.
He does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I
Hey,
don't know. There's not bullies, and I don't know. I don't know what. I give an example.
I mean, I don't know. Russell, there are none. I mean, the reality is Russell is. I mean, Titanic is so fucking queer. I mean, even most of the the women in the show are lesbians. So it's like, and some of them are fucking each other. So it's like it's very well. They're dating. It's not that taboo.
It's not like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
It's not like that. It's not like that. I'm gonna get like.
It's not like a fuck palace.
Yeah, it's not like
over
a
there.
yeah. Except when Russell leaves, because the one straight person is
it.
gone. No, but Russell, I mean, you just you get he fits in with the banter.
Well, Russell was considering trying poppers. We discussed this. That some
Yeah,
people
you
in the
mentioned
show.
it. And I said,
surely it wasn't. She wasn't me, but it was probably someone who looked like me.
Wait, now can you real quick for those joining in, especially new listeners? This is a place where we explore being negative, complaining, as you got from my entire intro. I think you got the theme of the podcast, where you're safe to not pretend that things are going well, and you can bitch and moan and let your my therapist has an open wound. This is the Open Wound podcast. So speaking of open wounds, poppers, talk to me about. So poppers are for fun too. I was my impression was poppers was like you were about to participate in anal sex. It let you loosen up. You did a snort, right in there.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. It's a 10 to 30 second like head rush, and it does something to your blood so that in a way that it doesn't. And gays love drugs, so it's in a way where you're not supposed to do it if you do Viagra, because it like the whatever it does to you. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I just love.
Just to be clear for
I just
everyone
love
listening,
anal.
Rosé is.
Rosé is not a scientist.
I love a panel. It's like doctor loves anal.
There's a hard divide there, unfortunately.
Are poppers illegal?
They are illegal in some parts of the world. I've been on tour. Last year I was on tour and I ran out, and like when you're on tour, you want to get like, it's like Epcot. You want like a taste of the world. And I could not be legal.
That's why Toba's nervous about me going on tour. I'll tell you that right now.
But yeah, no, like some places in the world you can't find them, and it's very frustrating.
In
but
America?
But in America, no, you can find them like anywhere. Especially like in New York, you can like sex shops always have them, but you can find them in like smoke shops or like bodegas half the time.
Well, the FDA just released something. I guess there's been a real disaster of people trying to get their
Accidentally.
5-hour energy in. They're taking their 5-hour energy. Suddenly, their butthole is
No,
people drinking poppers.
Snorting.
No. I think people
you
thought it was a 5-hour
you
energy.
inhale it through your nose. That's like what the common practice is, right?
No. But the FDA said some people have been mixing up the bottles, look like 5-hour energy drinks.
So they chug it,
So
the whole
they've been
thing?
chugging it.
Yeah.
And then they
Die?
I think so.
That's not very sexy.
Because it's a liquid, yes?
Yeah, it's a liquid.
How many inhales can you take?
I mean, as many as you like, but like,
But do you put the cap on? Does it go bad? Like
no,
line? Is it like, it's only...
You open that shit up and the whole room is like there was one time, because, okay, here's the thing, like recreationally, like especially if you're out like dancing, sometimes it's fun to like have them on the dance floor for like 10 seconds. You just pass it around your friends and it's like whatever, at a gay bar. but they really smell like, and they smell like good, but it's like it's a very detectable, recognizable odor. And so like, there was one time, okay, so speaking of tour, last year I was on a tour bus, and after the show one night we were like just sitting on, and me and my friend, we were like, let's like do poppers real quick, and we were just sitting there on the bus, and then everybody on the bus got so mad at us because they could smell it, and we were like, guys, but think about how relaxed your buttholes are. This is a great thing. We're gonna have like great sleep. So.
And they were cool after that. They said, "Oh, good point."
Yeah.
Good point.
I went to like a Beyonce night at some bar in Brooklyn.
I promise you there were poppers at a Beyonce
No,
night.
exactly. It smelled like poppers in there, and I've never felt more safe.
How do you know what poppers smells? Are you? Forgive me. I shouldn't assume. Are you a poppers
She's from
participant?
California.
Sure.
No. I did it recreationally one time, like you were saying, just like on the dance floor, just like having fun.
And was it fun?
Yeah.
What is it? Does it feel like? Woo! Like it just.
Pretty much.
It lasts. I mean, I can't believe they don't have some here for us to try, because normally I would, because you never know. But I don't. But yeah, you should try it. It's fun. It's like,
I think that's a Patreon episode. I think that's.
I don't know if it has to be a whole episode.
We were gonna go.
It's like
to
5
go
you'll have
because
a headache if it's a whole episode. I would maybe the intro, maybe the outro. Like,
I like the idea. You show up. There's a bunch of gay people there, and they're like, "Does Russell smell like poppers?" Just like some cologne that's just. What does it smell like? I mean, now I'm wondering if I smelt it all the time.
I cannot describe to you what it smells like, but it smells like poppers for sure. I like don't. What is this? It doesn't smell good.
There's not like different brands or different. Flavors.
There are, but they vary in strength.
But it
They
always
vary
kinda
a little
smells.
bit in scent. There's when I was a little bit younger, I was introduced to like foreign, as they were described to me, artisanal poppers that come in like a labelless brown bottle, and it's very chic. And they don't like, because poppers, the thing with them is they will give you a headache, especially if you just like huff them constantly. So like you can't do that.
When you said artisanal, I thought of it like a coffee shop where they make like a heart out of the foam.
It's very that. It's very that. So but they don't give you a headache. Those ones are lit. So yeah. Again, I wish I would have brought a spread.
I wanna. I gotta try it now.
Let's do it.
You were worried that you were gonna take it and you were gonna poop everywhere.
I don't know.
Is just pooping occur? Or?
I mean, here's the thing. It's not. I mean, it's used for anal, right? So I mean, you're not gonna do anal when you have like a bunch of shit in your ass. So like, you should probably just not have that and then think I'll do poppers. Open the gates of hell.
It's a very slim window of the day, right?
Okay.
Gonna shit in my ass.
So. When I was
Quick, get the poppers down. No. It's too late. It's too late.
Yeah. It's happened. It happened. When I was so I was visiting some friends in Scotland last year, some gay friends, and they were telling me about how one time they went to this party, a house party, and people they got poppers and put them in a kettle on the stove and boiled it, so the whole room, and then he said that someone shit themselves. Just like yeah. So like it can happen. So like consent is like delicious with poppers. You don't want people just shitting themselves at a party.
I know that it's very 100% unethical. Like the idea of like you have like a bake sale and no one knows the brownies are laced with drugs and then everyone gets high, and like I know that's highly unethical. Very funny to me, but the idea that you would like go to some big event and boil poppers and put it in the air vent. Some CPAC Republican convention and just boil poppers.
Oh, great.
And have everyone just shit their diapers. Oh, it would be the funniest thing.
Yeah.
Highly unethical though, unfortunately. Well, Rosé.
Yeah, let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
So Rosé, for the few who don't know, you did a RuPaul's Drag Race. Mm-hmm. What season?
Season 13.
Season 13. I recently did a show with Bianca.
A legend. I love her.
Yeah, it was very nice. It's always like, especially when a persona is kind of mean on stage, and when they're still made up and backstage they're nice.
Yeah,
it feels special. You're
that's Bianca's whole thing. She's a cunt, but she's actually such a sweetheart.
Was so nice.
She's motherly. She loves to take care of people.
And then goes on stage and goes like, your husband's I almost gay, but that's not what Bianca says.
Yeah, watch it.
But before we go to that stuff, you were born in Scotland?
I was. I moved to America when I was 9.
Wikipedia says 10. So
well, that's because I for a while I was rounding it up because like who cares about 9? That's so random. 10 sounds like
You wanted a 10 solid years in
I was just
Scotland.
like, painting a picture of me. But I think I actually was 8, and then 2 weeks later I turned 9. So now I say 9. I'm like more honest, but really I was 8. Please don't tell anyone.
don't worry, no one's listening. And Scotland. Have not been to Scotland. Scotland?
Oh, you gotta go.
I'm not. I'm
Scotland?
from my ancestors are from Scotland though.
That's what you are.
I'm Scottish.
You're Scottish.
Because it was Mick Daniels, and they dropped the Mick when they moved
Why?
over.
McDaniels.
I don't
Well,
think some sort of-
Mick translates to son of. So son of Daniels.
Son of Daniels.
Do you know what my last name means? It's McCorkle. It means son of the cauldron of Thor.
Oh.
That's
And so like it's so masculine, and I'm like this little fairy, daughter of the cauldron.
is everyone Mick something?
No, but there's a lot of Micks, a lot of Macs. Mick and Mac. They
What's
both mean,
Mac? They both mean
they
son
both
of.
mean son of. It's just generational differences. Like Pat as the name changes through time.
I think you should go back. Russell McDaniels. That's a whole different person.
I like that.
Okay.
Like if you did Shakespeare.
Yeah.
If you went back to
if
Macbeth.
I kept doing
Russell McDaniels. That is like a Scottish as fuck name. Russell McDaniels.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I
so
met Rosé's parents. They're very Scottish.
Yeah, they have like full blown.
what does that mean? Kilts?
No,
No.
I mean, yeah, but on a formal event, you like
Not when I met
my
them.
dad. They both just wear kilts everywhere.
I'm sure at Titanic they'd be like, "Welcome, wow."
Yeah, no, they just wore regular skirts to Titanic, but they they have very thick accents, and I still use an accent that's just about as thick when I'm with them. It's like. It's the dumbest. I say it's when I really became a performer. When we moved to, I started the 4th grade, and I was like, new chance. I'm gonna have like so many friends. I'm not gonna get made fun of. And I, of course, was such a flamer, and like that was inevitable. But I was like, I had so much culture shock. I would look around, and I was like, okay, great. So now I sound insane next to all these American kids. So I was like, this cannot go on. I need to fit in somehow. So I changed my voice. Like in like 2 days, I learned American dialects are so easy because it was just the laziest dialect in the world.
Really?
Yes, it's just all round and slow. It's not consonant heavy. It's not. The vowels don't fucking matter like at all.
Yeah.
So and I was in Texas, so even more so
Sure.
in Houston. And so I would go to school and I would talk like this, and I would walk home and I would talk like this, and it's never changed. And I think it was a few years before they found out. My mom and dad were like, "What the fuck?" But
They heard you. So okay, so you showed up in 4th grade. How did you talk again? Do it.
like my Scottish accent sounds like this.
And what did the kids say? Did they think it was cool?
They
I
were
think
like,
it'd be cool.
"What did she say?"
You went to school with the South Park boys.
Yeah. No, that was the teacher.
Yeah.
But you still, even though you say American dialect is
Well,
easy, you
but
must
think-
be good with.
But think about the time. There must have been like the guy from The Simpsons, like the
Willie?
Yeah.
Apu? Oh, Willie. Oh, sure. Oh, I
Not
thought you meant his
Apu.
accents in
No,
general.
Willie,
Willie.
the Scottish guy, and then like Fat Bastard or something. That's like the
was
reference
Scottish,
point
yeah.
that like people would have.
Yeah, when you saw Austin Powers 3, were you like representation?
We love Fat Bastard.
Yeah. And it's Austin
Really?
Powers too.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
Scottish people generally, in my experience and from what I've observed, like Scottish people are so excited. We're proud and we're very excited when we see representation, especially in a comedic way. Because I mean, being Scottish is funny. Like nobody can understand us.
I like to think like the country watching him get in my belly, and they're crying like, "Wow,
They're in-
we made it."
They're in pubs cheering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've been to Ireland,
Where?
Dublin, Galway. I think just Dublin and Galway.
I don't know Galway, but I love Dublin.
But I just remember talking to a guy from Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
And we were both speaking the same language.
Allegedly.
But I could not understand what he was saying. And the weirdness of being like, sorry, I know you're speaking English, but
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I just nodded the whole time. I mean, I might as well speak to someone in a different language.
Yeah, Belfast, where the Titanic was built and set sail. There's like a huge museum there that did not go to.
They still take credit for that. They're like, "Hey, we built the thing."
Yeah, and
that
no
killed
wonder,
everyone.
the ship sank. They couldn't understand each other when they were building it because their accents were so fucked. I went to Belfast for the first time, Ireland for the first time last year, and it's like I am good with dialects and regurgitating the sounds and also like hearing things, but the Belfast Irish accent, I literally was like I hooked up with a guy in Belfast and I didn't know what he wanted to do. he would take off his shirt and say something probably sexy. And I was like, I would like kind of wink and then just turn around and like look over my shoulder. I don't know what he was expecting. I couldn't understand anything. I was gagged that I couldn't understand a UK dialect. Even Wales is kind of like obscure and some English dialects are kind of obscure and I can understand most of those. But like fucking Belfast was crazy.
Yeah.
So you're in school. When you learned how to imitate the speech, did you fit in then? Did you have friends?
No.
Yeah.
But at least
You were in Houston, right?
Yeah. No, I did have friends, but I mean, it's like the classic fucking trope of like a queer kid, just like displaced in a very heteronormative society in Texas of all places,
Yeah.
So I did not fit in. I found my way, but
Where did you? Was it the theater?
it was the theater. It was choir first and then theater, and then a little bit of dance sprinkled in, and then I was unstoppable. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I just have nothing in common with these people. I need to move.
Sure. I can't even imagine. I mean, you were in Texas for a bit, but I would have.
Where? Oh wait, I know
Houston.
this.
I lived in Houston for 2 years. I went to grad school there.
Oh, that's is that? Wait, didn't you do a gig there recently?
Yes, we went. We did a live taping of this show there.
I almost said like, oh, it wasn't a gig. It was just a live taping.
Yeah. It was a gig. It was a full show.
Yeah,
No, it was a full show.
Yeah, you were gigging. You were down in Texas.
Gigging.
So you're at school, theater, choir.
Yeah.
How long did you do choir?
How what?
How long did you do choir?
I started in 7th grade. Well, no, I was in like this like little boys choir in like 6th grade, I think, but I hated that. So yeah, no, it's like a middle school on. And I was like, that's like my like peak nerd is like choral music and like classical music. And like when I was like a senior in high school, I was the choir president. Like it was like that vibe. Like
choir, I didn't even know they had a government body.
we had to. There was just so many singers. We needed order and justice.
What kind of songs did you do? Did you guys ever do because you were in chorus, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys ever do those like 40-minute like medleys of like the musical, like Phantom of the Opera or something?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. There's something deeply sad about doing those like with a group of like all middle schoolers with just a piano player and it just like, I don't know. They had
40
solos,
minutes.
They had like solos sprinkled throughout them. So it'd be like an 8th grade girl being like, like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And they did them all. Like we did them all. Like Les Mis, Phantom.
What's like
all
really
those.
spooky about this is
Yeah.
like, at least for me, it was like, near like the year 2000. So it's like people would be like, oh, let's do this 40-minute medley of The Wiz with our all white choir,
Oh yeah.
That's the really spooky shit.
He's on down.
yeah.
He's on down the road.
They one time in like a all county chorus type situation had us do a song that I could not sing right now for you because it'd be that inappropriate. It was definitely like a slave song. It was definitely like all white kids doing it with choreo. And it was
Choreo like a
like
tired
I remember
from the
thinking
shift.
I remember thinking like
Hope we get some
this
scraps.
is crazy. I'm in 7th grade.
Yeah.
I can't be the one who raises my hand and says this is crazy.
Yeah.
But thinking like, where are the adults being like, why
Did you really have that thought where you're like,
I
this
did.
is
I was like, I remember being like,
As I
it just
said,
was
Russell is the ultimate ally.
it was just crazy.
This is Ally McBeal hard at work.
But I know I have it memorized still, the song. That's how much and I don't remember any of those.
Well,
other
you
songs.
also loved it. It's your favorite song.
Oh, it's catchy. It's
That's
catchy.
your warm-up song for
It's
Titanic.
really catchy.
Well,
Did it veer into show choir territory or no?
oh hell yeah! In high school, oh hell yeah, bitch.
Because I had a very good theater program, but I think because it was so good, they didn't have show choir because it was just we did
didn't
theater.
have show choir.
When I got to high school, my high school in like the suburb in which we were in of Houston at the time, and through like the late 90s, it was like renowned for its show choir. It was like a legendary, like what was it called? The Viking the voice? I don't know what it was fucking called. Oh, the Varsity Singers. Oh, baby. If you were in the Varsity Singers, you were like one
They
of
applied the
divas.
term varsity like for sports.
Oh yeah.
To singing.
And you could letter in it. Like I got my letter jacket for choir.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I still have it. I need to like get it from my mom's house and like wear it. It's hideous, but it's so. I mean, it's vintage.
Wow.
Were you? What did you have any big like solo? Do you remember your big roles? Anything any failures? Any cracks?
Yeah. I mean, like, of course, I can't think of any cracks that were like. That like stand out, but of course there were cracks. But to be honest, like to be completely fair, like at the age I was, and maybe just geographically where I was like, I'm sure we all were, right? It's just like when you're a talented kid, like I was like a talented fucking kid, and so like I think I just kind of like assumed that responsibility because singing came much more easy to me than to most of the other kids, and so. I don't know. I felt really confident when I was in high schools, and then it all went away.
In college?
No, I'm just kidding. But like, yeah, somewhat.
I
Once I started
definitely-
really studying, I was like, oh, like once I started really adding technique, I was like, oh, man, like as I said, I'm not a
Yeah.
scientist, and I really am
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's hard to. I think about like I did like a gospel number like in a church with the choir, and I had a solo, and like to think about how I thought I was singing back then. Like I thought I was like, just like from the soul, and Jesus was looking down, and how it's just probably the worst thing you've ever heard.
Jesus was doing something and he was like, wait a minute. And he's put to the side so he could look down at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also singing about him, like Jesus, like my king,
Wow.
Jesus, and I don't even know what I'm saying, and I'm sure it was just horrifying.
I've sung so many religious songs that now I would like. I could never sing this shit, you know.
Is Scotland Catholic?
Scotland is, at least where I'm from, where my family still heavily lives in the Glasgow area. It's, to my knowledge, mostly severely divided in Christianity between Catholics and Protestants. I remember my parents are not religious, but their families, it's kind of like one of those, regions, at least in the, let's say 70s and 80s and 90s, because that's what I know, because of my parents. But like they didn't observe the religious practices whatsoever, but they were so about praying and confessing and all that shit. But it wasn't necessarily like going to church every week. They just feared God. And my dad grew up in a Protestant family. My mom grew up in a Catholic family. And when they were young kids and they met, it was like a bit of like a Romeo and Juliet like vibe. I feel like it was like, it's like, yeah. And it correlates with soccer teams, football teams over there. Like the Protestants are the Rangers and the Catholics are the Celtics. And like my dad said that when he was a kid, like you can't like wear it's blue and green. It's like very dangerous, like walking around as a kid to wear like the wrong color in the wrong neighborhood because you'll get beat up. It's crazy. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if they thought the others were going to hell, or if, like you said, they just lived in fear of God in general. Like it was
I feel like most people who are religious do.
Yeah.
Most Christians, in oppressive conservative places. So yeah.
What, any other differences in terms of your parents coming from Scotland and like American culture versus is Sean Connery? Is he
He's Scottish. Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's why he came out. Versus.
Yeah.
Is there any like big differences or adjustments or?
Yeah, I mean, especially for a kid, the weather was major because the weather in Scotland is, it's like, it's usually cold. It's very damp, and it's always gray. Like there's some sunny days in the summer, like but like it's very depressing weather. It's like Seattle vibes, It's like it's just always raining. So like my parents love the Texas weather because it's fucking scorching all the time. It's like then go outside, it's always boiling hot. I hate it. I mean, it's like fine for a day, but I'm more like I need seasons, and I prefer like the LA kind of like median. Of weather. So the weather was a big thing. Food was a big thing. Like I remember like candy, chocolate specifically. It was like horrifying. Hershey's tasted like solid powder. I hated it. Yogurt was a completely different texture. I'm trying to think of other things. I remember like a lot of like just like snacks and junk foods. I was like mind boggled. VHS tapes, the packaging, like there was so many things that were just like this or that. Like a VHS at that time in the UK standard was like the slimline, hard, thin plastic. And then when we moved to Texas, everything that we could find at any store that was a VHS, like I have a flubber, lol, a flubber, one of the first VHS tapes we bought in America. That's in one of those like giant foam things. The one you could toss it off a skyscraper and it's like it's fine on the floor. Like it's
the giant foam.
I was like I remember being like, why?
Oh, sorry, Paige.
Why? It just takes up space.
Yeah.
But everything's bigger in Texas.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they say. When I went there, it grew 2 inches.
What did
You know what I mean?
Oh my.
Flubber, was Flubber a good movie? Or was it like
No, I don't think
I remember
so.
seeing it in theaters.
With Robin Williams.
With Robin
Right.
Williams.
So it has like a natural, wonderful comedic charm to it, and just a Robin Williams charm, but it wasn't one of his best feature films.
It was like early CGI though. You were like, whoa.
I don't remember.
The CGI is not bad, I don't think.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's like an inanimate like object that doesn't exist. So like we can bend our minds a little easier. It's not a human.
Some
you know.
CGI from before is still better than some things now, I think.
Have y'all seen The Little Mermaid yet? The
Not
new
yet.
one?
Based on those clips that I've seen online, it looks unwatchable to me.
Why?
When I see a realistic crab, I go, someone step on it. That's a scary, that's not cute at all. I hate all this animal stuff. I feel like it's not a new opinion, but like the Lion King stuff, I'm like, their faces aren't emotive. I have to deal with the fact more that they're animals. It makes less sense to me that the animals are chill and fun and friendly with each other.
I hear that. I think that because I was feeling the same way before going to watch it. Because I was like, okay, literally, Flounder is terrifying.
Yeah.
And the crab's eyes, I'm like, that's not. It doesn't have the same kind of like warmth. However, and I think the film is brilliant. I cannot wait to see it again. I kind of like that it's so realistic because it kind of brings forth how realistic it is that a black girl can be the Little Mermaid. That things are slightly like altered from what we're used to, and it's all based in realism. I really enjoyed that because it just, I don't know. I think it's a nicer way for children who are going to watch this and have impact their lives the way the animated 1989 one impacted mine. It's like, it's nice to start them off with there is no Santa Claus.
Well, I had no problem with Ariel being black. That's Russell's thing. But for me, I think when I see these animals, I'm like, when you see Flounder like that, but then you're eating it.
Who?
Look, I'm saying
I'm not eating
like,
flounder.
No, but I'm saying you look at the crab, you look at the flounder. Like, to me, it's bringing it closer and closer to being like, all right, guys, these are the things that we're killing and eating because they taste good.
Well, maybe that's
so
good.
you got to deal. You think it's
Flounder-
like Peeta's at the end?
Flounder
Peeta's doing a big
Flounder is basically is like hardly in the film at all in this version, and I think it's literally because it's just so hideous. Like they were like, the kids don't want to see this.
Wait, can I ask you, what did you think of Ursula's makeup?
Well, okay, so another thing, obviously, like that's a hot topic with the
Explain
the
it to us,
queers
'cause
right now.
I didn't fully.
So the makeup artist who is straight, and that is important to all of the queer makeup artists, in the industry who are making groundbreaking strides in how makeup looks and is presented and performed. It really showed that there was like a lack of knowledge, and it's Ursula's. The character is heavily inspired by Divine, and so it really heavily leans into drag. And Melissa
Forgive me,
McCarthy,
Divine is a
Divine
drag queen?
is a very.
You don't know who Divine is? John Waters?
No.
It's okay that you don't. But Divine is like a very famous like
mediocre
punk
ally.
rock drag artist from the decades past. And when the Little Mermaid came out, Ursula the animation and I think the voice too was heavily inspired by like the presence of Divine. And well, not think it's been noted, but that was a thing. But I think Melissa McCarthy in interviews has said that she used to do drag before she like made it big. Like she did like lady and drag shit, and she knows about the culture, and she also was in her performance. I believe that she was being very respectful, but the makeup is it's drag makeup, but it's technically very bad drag makeup, or what I did look like when I started drag, and that kind of is like so I think there's like a lot of argument, like, is it intentional, is it not? I watched it and I was like, honestly, it's kind of fierce, because like when you see like people who have like tattooed makeup on, like crazy tattooed brows that may have been trendy like 10 years ago but now look insane.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like that vibe. It's like Ursula, she's like all done up, but she did her makeup herself and she's terrible at it, but she thinks she looks amazing. Like any new drag queen, but that's the thing. She's Mother, so why would she be new? I don't know.
But what do you think about obviously there's like, well, was this just a bad job?
It looks terrible, but I think it might be intentional and artistic. Like, I think I don't know. I'm a Little
What
Mermaid
did the makeup
stan.
artist say?
Well, so the makeup artist finally made a statement recently. I want to say like a week or so ago, where they were like, I don't know what they said precisely, but it was something, they were upset that they were receiving all this harsh criticism, and
that makes sense.
And it was very like, it was very, very why me, poor straight person, also, because that's like a huge thing of the response has been like, this would never have happened, and it should have been featured, it should have been given to a queer person, a queer makeup artist, who really, really knows and helped create that culture vibe.
We talked with, because we also did an episode with Dusty Ray Bottoms.
I listened to it today.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
But we talked about the drag queen who's a straight cis man.
Recently, Maddie Morphosis.
Maddie Morphosis.
On the not this last one, but the previous season of Drag Race, yes.
And I don't know, we're both straight men who occupy queer spaces in different capacities. When they booked me to open for Bianca, I always wonder when I get a big booking during Pride Month that people don't know that I'm straight. One of the earliest comedy festivals I got into, it wasn't you had to be queer to get into the festival, but it was a queer leaning festival.
Right.
And it was early in stand-up. And I'm still to this day convinced that when I sent them my tape with a shirt from Big Fish the Musical with a big flower on it, and it was all about me going to college for musical theater, that they just assumed. It wasn't my I wasn't tricking it.
You're performers, you're artistic, you're very expressive, both of you. So it's obviously something that will,
But
I didn't know certainly that Russell was straight when I first saw him perform and met him. It was a few rehearsals in when I learned that you were one of those. And
I think I hear that that makeup story, and I think there's a reflexive defensiveness of just like, well, maybe they just were bad at their job, or just like, I think, I just don't know, if I were to portray someone who was bi, if someone would get mad at me because the acting sucked, and then they would say, well, Andy's also straight. It's just hard to know. If they had done a really good job, would anyone have cared that they were straight?
Likely no, but
Sure.
it does. It is visibly, especially to the queer folks, it's visibly like bad,
not good.
Yeah. And so maybe it's intentional, but if it's not, it's like kind of like, oh, and it's kind of like it's blue balls. It's fucking
it's also
Ursula.
like one of those things where
Ursula, we want her to be like,
Yeah.
run, da, 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 da. And also here's another thing, her costume, it's it's animated to look like she's a fucking octopus squid thing, right? But it's like the makeup didn't match the it's like the her body is kind of it's like a gown in the form of like tentacles and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Girl, it's from like Saks. It's designer. So why didn't she have a better makeup artist? If she was dressed in like rags, then it would have made more sense. But it just didn't make sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you're right. If it had been executed in a more pleasing way to people who know makeup and people who know drag, they may not have done the research to crucify this poor straight person.
Sure, that's why they get crucified for being bad.
It's also like it's not even just this one person. It's that there weren't people in the process of then seeing it, being like, "Wait a minute, this is."
Well, it's incredible. It's incredible for such a
Like-
big undertaking, a humongous global, like major film, major. That it's that it never saw those editing eyes. It makes it, which again makes me wonder, was it intentional? Because it does make sense to me in some parts, but Anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
But Melissa McCarthy's so good. She's so good. She's so good in the film.
I think they should have just made it a real octopus for the whole number, and it's just a blob. And there's no mouth even. It just moves
no
around
music,
like
no
this.
singing,
no
no
music,
lines.
no singing. Yeah, let's go full. Let's go only the sounds these animals would
But
actually
that
make.
actually makes sense because the octopus can't speak. It's gonna want Ariel's fucking voice.
Sure, but the whole song should be.
Gloop, 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 gloop.
And there's music in the background, and then eels, and they're shitting the whole time. It doesn't make any sense.
You hear all that, like the eels. Yeah. You can hear just like the texture of them living their lives.
Are you gonna see it? No.
I'll probably see it when it comes like when you.
I've
stream
also
it.
heard those songs. Like I watched those movies so much as a kid that I almost don't even want to hear the song again.
They
the
have-
moment I
they
hear it,
have
it's like
new
a song I've heard
songs.
too many times.
Didn't they
feel
add a
that.
song or two?
Yeah, I heard the
Yeah,
great
there's-
new Lin-Manuel rap that they added.
Yeah, well, I actually liked it, and then Ariel has a new song, When She Has Legs. So yeah, there's some new music, but it fits in well. And it's and yeah, I liked it. Listen, it's always so like black or white, hit or miss with movie musicals and retelling of remakes of films and stuff. I think it's excellent. I think it's one of the best. So the reason I brought it up is because there's also a buzz about like questionable CGI. And my friend who her name is Laguna, and she's a drag queen, and she loves.
Yeah, I assumed when you said Laguna, I was like, oh, your accountant friend? You're your business manager? Your lawyer?
Yeah, my lawyer Laguna.
You're losing that case.
Laguna the lawyer.
Well, that's why I have my other lawyer, Ally McBeal. Wait, wasn't that the premise of that show? They were a law firm.
Yes.
They were like young lawyers in New York City.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, she was like, I think they spent like literally all their time and doing the CGI, making it gorgeous for Part of Your World, and then they were like, fuck, and then ran out of time for like some of the other stuff in the middle. I didn't notice.
But the second half is just the regular animated movie.
Yeah.
They just go back. Okay, so then talk to me. Let's get into some drag. Let's get into what you go to college for?
I got a degree in musical theater.
Where?
Wichita State University in Kansas.
That's the Carnegie Mellon of Kansas.
Yeah.
Good program?
Yeah, a great program and a really perfect program for me because I got to do like everything. I got to like dip my toes into dance, into opera, into composition, and mostly into musical theater. And yeah, it was a good like balancing program for
Were
me.
you a stronger actor or a stronger singer? What are you leading with?
I don't know. I always change my mind. I was singer first.
Yeah.
But I became more of an actor in college. And I think acting is, because here's the thing, in drag, I'm not always singing when I perform. A lot of drag is well, for most people, all of drag performance is lip syncing. But when I do that, I'm using musicality, but I'm not singing, but I'm acting. You know what I mean?
Sure, of course.
So yeah, I think really the core of everything I do, acting is always there.
We had in my college freshman year, one of the big assignments for movement class was lip sync. You did a big lip sync number, and
It's smart.
it was a good challenge. It's a lot of creativity and you got to really be vulnerable. Because you could feel silly.
Yeah.
And if you're not committing, you got to commit to that. Have you ever done a lip sync, like a real?
Well, I do it 8 times a week, but only for one line in Titanic.
And it's stunning.
What's the line that you lip sync in that?
Oh God.
Wow, you don't even fucking know.
Jesus Christ!
I don't know without the context of it happening.
This is not being a very good ally.
It's a
McBeal.
Tina Turner
So I
song.
remember the song.
I love you, baby, like the star of the ring. And I love you, baby, like a scuba. I love is my heart.
It's the last one.
I love you, baby, river deep, mountain high.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, you do that. Well, I can't do
Do
it
it,
like
do
I
it,
do
Olsen,
One,
it.
come on.
2, 3, 4. And I love you, baby, river deep,
I rub my
mountain
nipples and then I do
high.
the thing. Yeah,
It's very good.
you're not gonna get the full performance on this. You have
Why
to
don't you
come
just
to
sing it?
the Dale Roth Theater. Well, because it's a lip sync. Because
It's the lip sync.
It's the
It's been a
drag
while.
race.
Paige and I are seeing it next week.
Oh, fact.
Right?
It's a drag race reference, so it's
Yeah.
it's just
yeah.
So then when did you think about? So okay, you graduated. Did you go to New York?
10 years ago, I moved to New York right after that. And I, I did my thing. I was auditioning. I worked a little bit. I started booking work. Of course, more of it at first was out of New York. It was like regional theater, and I like sung and danced on a cruise ship for a year.
Was that fun or was that hell?
Both. It was a great contract. I had like a position of leadership, which I loved because it made me just feel
The president of the choir loved leadership on the cruise.
Yes. But
What kind of show were you doing on the cruise?
It was literally it was several shows, but the main one on the main stage was I don't know if they're still in business, but in Vegas based, there is a celebrity impersonator live show called Legends in Concert, and it was that. And they have like a few theaters and a few whatever like across the states, and then there's one on Norwegian Cruise Lines, or at least there was. And it's like they have like just like an arsenal of normally Vegas based, but just American celebrity impersonators who sing live for the very most part, and who look usually quite like the people. Some of them are amazing, and so I was a backup singer and backup dancer for them. And
So you didn't do any of the celebrities.
No, because that's like I was like in the ensemble for that show, and so but the celebrities, I mean, it's like a drag career, honestly, because they come at like there's a Steven Tyler. His name is Chris Van Dahl. He lives as Steven Tyler. His wife is a nail tech in Vegas, and she does his nails to be the same way that Steven Tyler's nails are, with a black stripe down the center, which I learned it's representative of vaginas. But he dresses off stage. He looks just like he does on stage in a full Steven Tyler Aerosmith costume. It's like, it's wild. Like he talks like, I can't do it, but
It sounds exhausting.
yeah, some of these people get really like into that. Yeah, so
If I was Steven Tyler and met that guy, I wouldn't want it to last very long.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
It would be hard.
those are my nails?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
yeah, but I mean, he's incredible, and he like the way he
Yeah.
performs. I mean, you feel like
Dream On. Is that Steven Tyler?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
But and that was in the set. But you feel like you're watching Steven Tyler. He's like incredible. He looks just like it. It's crazy.
You feel like you're getting fingered by Steven Tyler.
Finger blasted.
Finger
Yeah.
blasted.
Yeah. Cruise ship for a year though. That's intense.
8 months. Not a year, but like, yeah, it was intense.
Rosé rounds up 9 to 10. 8 months to a year.
Oh my God, I love rounding 8 up to
clearly.
I hate the number 8. It's so insufficient. But yeah, it was wild. I was desperate to get off when I did, but it was nice. I saw the world for the first time in a way that I hadn't, and when I was working, like touring for the first time, kind of. And
Was drag percolating at this point?
it was percolating. I did it a little bit on the ship as a joke for like an event, like and I
How intense? Like how much of it?
no,
'Cause
like not at all. Like the makeup, forget about it. It was like not it was
Just
it was,
wig
like,
through a
a
wig.
wig and a dress and a pair of heels, and me like kind of like as an actor, my body language changing and my voice kind of like assuming like a different tone. And I mean, Russell's pretty familiar with Rosé now. Russell's met Rosé like a handful of times and has seen me like host a show as Rosé.
Yeah.
It's like it's just me, but it's like it's slightly different. Yeah.
So I did this acting program where I did that character from My Left Foot that Daniel Day-Lewis played. At that same one, this is back like when truly actors, you could play anything you wanted to, and it was okay. And I did a scene from Torch Song Trilogy. So I definitely did. You know Torch Song Trilogy?
I don't know it well. but
Harvey Firestein
heard
wrote
of
it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You know Torch Song Trilogy?
I know what it is. I couldn't.
It's a beautiful long play, but it's Harvey originally wrote it and started as a drag queen. So there was definitely full weeks of this acting class where I did some of the worst drag that's ever been done. But I was like a 19-year-old actor. I really was giving it my all.
Yeah.
But the heels were half an inch at most.
Yeah.
And just probably hideous makeup.
Yeah.
And a kimono.
My first experiences with drag were like laced in theater, and so it wasn't the drag that I do now. It wasn't completely change. It wasn't like a complete change, and it's like the 1 inch heel vibe. It's like the
Well, to me, the beginning of drag, like I seeing Bianca, and it's this big show, and I know she's getting paid good money and has like a team or whatever, but and she talked about, she said, putting on the monkey suit. That's how she described
LOL.
The monkey suit. And I'm like, the beginning of any kind of live entertainment, the amount of money you're getting paid. I mean, we talked about with Dusty, just like if I had to do all that to go do my spot at LOL on a Tuesday night, it would be insane. So the beginning is so interesting. Of like,
well, it's you have to
really invest.
you figure out how to make things work. You know what I mean? And you know, if you look back at pictures of me, I started doing drag a week ago. It was 6 years, and I know.
That's nothing.
I know and it's happened in the blink of an eye. It's crazy, but if you look at the first pictures of me, like, you know, you can see it's good, but it was so punk rock, rough around the edges. Like,
was this back when you went by Pig?
wait, how do you know about that?
It's on your Wikipedia.
Is it really?
Yeah,
That's so fucking crazy. I need to look at that.
Rosé's.
You know, you're
early drag name.
not the first person to bring up literally that Wikipedia page today. Like, that's hilarious. Which I haven't read in a long time, I guess. But no, Pig was never my drag name. But when I started like dipping my toe in, and before when I debuted, I was Rosé. But when I was like getting ready and kind of just like trying on a wig at home and playing with makeup and like imagining numbers and stuff, I wanted to be called Pig, capital P-I-G, period. I thought it was like so funny, and like, I don't know, I wanted to be this kind of like soft feminine, well, as much as I could be, especially back then, kind of, I don't know, creature presence with such a jarring, you know, nasty name. Now, when I got in,
So you'd be like, "Hi everyone,
I'm Pig.
I was picturing you like with a really good prosthetic pig nose.
No,
too,
it wasn't.
though.
It's just a name. It's just a name. I would still be, you know. But what happened was, when I finally did get into drag, I was dating a really fabulous, really talented makeup artist at the time, and in New York, and he went out. He was like a club kid. He would put together these fabulous looks. He was so stylish, and it was very like, you know, rags, like making it work drag, and it always looked amazing. It's a skill, and so I would start going out with him, and that's when I really like got into like queer nightlife for the first time in New York, and I very quickly realized that I was not Pig. Lamb at best. So I was like I should do something different. I was like, the name doesn't belong to me, at least not today.
I'm sure there's some drag queens who like introduce themselves formally and then go like, I need to make it. It's hard. What's so hard is like,
it's a lot of pressure to
it's
like,
a big decision
this
early
is my
on.
branding, my thing, and
People
without
do
knowing
change.
yourself
People,
fully.
people do change their drag names. It happens all the time. Of course, the more well known you are, and further along in your career, obviously, it's like when Prince became a symbol.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's difficult for the
I feel
public
like
to kind of like latch onto when
It
they're
reminds
so
me
used
of
to
wrestling too. There's some wrestlers, like professional WWF wrestlers, who like after a certain amount of time they come out as a new character because
Yeah.
it wasn't clicking.
Yeah.
I imagine, are there any that have like, you're like, okay, no more changes?
No, because I mean, usually if someone changes, they only do it once. I mean, if someone changes their name more than one, if they do it twice, I'm like, okay, like you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like pick a crown and let's like go from there. When I did choose, when I was so suddenly inspired by the idea of Rosé, I was like, okay, I think this ticks all the boxes, and that was a huge concern of mine. I was like, I want to make sure this is a name that no matter how I evolve, no matter how if I'm doing drag at RuPaul's age, like, I don't know if I will. Back then, I really didn't know if I would. I was like, I need something that remains classic. You know, when I enter my like 6-year-old glamazon like era, it needs to be. I can't be called, you know, Pig lady farts. You know, it needs to be, you know, like,
Pig's drag
or
race.
or something silly like Girliana Grande. It needs to be. So I was like, Rosé. I was like, that will age well. It's classic. It's like, you know, it's. I don't know. It worked for me, and it still works. I wouldn't change my name. I've changed everything else.
So 6 years. I'm still stunned that it's just 6 years. That's barely anything. But talk about. I mean, let's get into RuPaul a little. How long were you doing it before you got on the show?
3 years. So now my time on season 13 is officially the midpoint of my drag career.
Were you?
Because I filmed it 3 years ago, and I've been doing drag for about 3 years.
I imagine most people on that show have been doing it much longer. No.
Yes.
Was there any like, who the fuck is this?
No, because I had like a a big enough presence because of my girl group at the time. Like people kind of
Stephanie's
knew,
child.
yeah. People kind of knew who, most people knew, who had an idea of who I was, at least like on the show.
Was it when you decided, like, because drag lip sync has become such a element of drag, was there any like, I'd like to actually sing? And
Well, no, it was just immediately for me. It was like, I was like, here's what separates me, darling.
Sure.
And I would what
Yeah.
I used to do, and I still do this. In different formats, but when I first started and my me introducing Rosé to New York, I would like come out, like do my lip sync for a couple minutes, and then like the last minute I would like spin off stage and come back with a mic and like reveal it and then start singing, and it would blow people's minds.
Yeah.
Because it's uncommon, and what's really uncommon is when drag queens are good singers, or
Sure.
or let's not say a good singer, but a singer who doesn't sing like this, like
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
like
Yeah.
old Broadway dame
Ethel
sound.
Merman.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of like which there's nothing wrong with that, but a more sensitive singer obviously is more surprising underneath all that haggard
because whenever
hair and makeup.
when I listen to like Kesha's album, I've been very into recently, and when I listen to those songs, I'm always imagining myself singing them. That's like the one thing I could never do, the makeup of drag. I don't have the art for it, but like the belting and like just the singing women's belter songs, like that's so much fun.
Oh yeah.
That's if I could. You're a tenor, obviously, or
I
are you
am
a super
but
tenor?
No, I'm not. I'm a tenor. I'm a tenor with like honestly a bit of a lower extension. So when I'm Rosé, I kind of is nasalize a word? I nasalize my voice a little bit just to make it like a little bit more, I don't know. That's so, I don't know how to describe that, but that's kind of what Rosé. It's more energized. It's a bit lighter. It's a little less relaxed, but then sometimes I just really lean into my like literally this sound, this voice. I think now it's kind of becoming more that way. But when I sing, I used to try and be a certain way when I sang in drag, or be more feminine, be more this, and now I'm just kind of like, bitch, put the fucking look on and just be yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how do I sound good?
Sure.
That's what I'm trying to do, instead of like trying to reach for a female register that is hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
So
One question before we get back into the competition. When you were starting those first 3 years, how regularly were you getting on stage in New York?
all the time. I was so lucky, but it was very like right time, right place. It felt very like, destiny, whatever. I started and I entered this at the time it was the biggest drag competition in New York, and it was like a weekly thing that was cycled, and there was a winner each week, and then it was like semifinals and then finals, and it was like about 80 queens in an entire season, which spanned a couple months, and I ended up winning the whole thing.
Oh.
And so that. And I had like a bit of I was in the theater scene. So like I had people who would come, friends who would come out, they would get done with their show, and then they would like rush over, so they could support me at this competition.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gave it momentum and a bit of, because that's what early drag that's in bars, like that is, that's what your job is. You're filling seats, you're selling liquor. Like that's what you're responsible for. Yeah, you do a show, but it's so the bar can make money. And I just kind of hit the ground running. There was cute press that followed me, and the one thing that I was able to do that normally takes new drag queens like a couple of years to get kind of good at is I was instantly bomb on the mic. I was so comfortable with a mic in my hand, like and that set me apart. And so I was immediately like ready to host things and to be the center point of shows at bars. So I quickly filled up my weekly schedule, and then soon, probably like a year in, I was working like 6 nights a week.
Wow.
In mostly Manhattan. So yeah, for me it was I hit the ground running, and I never stopped running, and I never have stopped.
And so when you were on RuPaul, what was because it sounds stressful. Sounds like tough.
It is.
This 5 suitcase limit. I don't know what it was.
It's 6 now.
It's 6
or at
now.
least it was when I was on. I think it's still 6.
How was it stressful?
Yeah, at the time when I was doing it, it was the most stressful thing and like live traumatic thing I'd ever been through. you discover where your trauma comes from when you're like when you grew up and stuff as you get older, I feel, or at least I do. But like that when I was like, I was like, damn, I'm here, I'm present, and I know how traumatizing this is. This is great. And I have to stay and I want to be here. It was crazy.
What was the trauma of it?
It's such a gamble. You're gambling your whole life. And as an artist, it's like I'm either gonna do this or I'm not. And I'm either gonna find the success. And also
it's so important. I think of it similarly to how back in the day, the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson as a stand-up comedian, if you failed that or you really took a dive or you didn't even get it feels like there's too much power.
It's moreover a make or break moment for the contestants. And what people, I think what a lot of people, what I realized quickly too, luckily for me, I am quite good at a lot of different things. So that the challenges that kind of like decided whether you were mostly in the top or the bottom, I was normally more towards the top. I was never up for elimination because of that. So that helped me, but truly like Drag Race is not, when Bianca was on in season 6, when she won season 6, I feel like it was a bit more still of like a talent show that really rewarded, the more talented, individuals, but it isn't a talent show anymore. And nor should it be. It's reality TV. And like, it's great if you're good at stuff, obviously, and that will give you longevity in your career because you're skillful, but it's like, you have to. They're telling a story, and they're basing it off of what you're giving them and So you have to lean in and kind of. I believe you have to like kind of just figure out what character you're playing in this story.
Yeah,
it's not falsified. It's heavily embellished based on what you give them to work with.
Do you have any regrets from like your run?
I mean, yes, but nothing. To be honest, I've seen people go on there and really like just not do exactly as they intended to, and I've seen how that can like affect people. I look back at my experience and I'm like, I was I mean, sure, I'll take the credit and say it was my own hand, but I also just feel so lucky that I came out not unscathed. Like I came out fucking wounded and exhausted and like traumatized because it was really hard. And it's so isolating too.
Yeah.
But it's truly exhausting. Like by the end I was like
Can you talk to us, since this is the downside, the day you were eliminated, like were you, because I think Dusty was talking about like you can't talk to too many people, you can't tell people.
Well, I was in the finale, so I was eliminated at like the very last minute. So I was one of the finalists. So that wasn't really an issue for me because like, I was there the whole time, and it was like a week later. Like we also we didn't know who won until the public knew. So like that wasn't like a part of my journey with Drag Race, but I mean the elimination was really tough just because what happened to me was very, very quickly soon after the season started airing, for a few months I was filming content just for social media based on like an episode of the show, and it was dance material, and I fell and really hurt my ankle.
Oh no.
And so I kept it a secret because I didn't want people to associate like negativity or pain or being wounded with my rise on the show, which I knew was kind of like underdog realness. And then at the end, it's like, oh my God, maybe she can win. But I was so anxious about the fact that my ankle was not recovering. And then when I finally got to the finale, I just was like, I was incredibly out of shape because I couldn't move. I'd gained a bit of weight. I was drinking so much because I was so stressed, and like I was in a really bad.
Do you ever go to like tapings like drunk, or like
no
you were like really you were like
but
done, drink, so
yeah, I mean I'm an alcoholic, and I don't drink anymore because of that experience. After it aired, I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, I need to like face my life, because that's what it drove me to. It drove me to like the point where I had to like kind of like save myself. When the whole world becomes aware of who you are and want to fucking tell you what they think about you, it can be no matter how thick-skinned I think you are, it's so hurtful and surprising. I think now that I'm used to it, it's like fuck these bitches. But like at first, especially in that situation where it does feel like life or death, like gambling my whole livelihood and my artistry, and like and it's your artistry and it's your body and it's the way you look. It's very sensitive stuff.
Is there any one aspect that feels like it is the most sensitive to? Like, for example, if someone calls me annoying, like that's, to me, whatever reason, that connects to like my childhood trauma of people thinking I was too much. Was there anything that people said that you said, fuck, they see this thing? Or you're like...
Well, it really... I was very affected by people commenting on my personality, because for a lot of the season and it was a beautiful story and it was a great arc, because I really blossomed about halfway through and became myself. Yeah. Like the me that my friends know, that my audience in New York knew. But I was very in my head for the first half, and I also, it was the first time in a long time that I had not had alcohol, within arm's reach every day. So that was kind of jarring for my body and for my mind. But yeah, when people commented on me saying that I had no personality, that I was just like, a lot, I don't know, that was upsetting to me, because I like to think that I have a huge personality.
It's hard to imagine someone accusing you of having no personality.
And that's the other thing too, is like when you go in and you have like such a set idea of yourself, and especially when you're like kind of successful at what you do and you're like there to show it off, it's like, to hear something like that you feel is the spine of your work and of your artistry is like, oh fuck. Like I went in being like, I'm like, okay, I know I'm like the performance bitch. Like, give me like anything to do on stage and I'm gonna fucking slay it. Like but to then hear the public be like, why is this person being celebrated when they have just nothing to offer as a person? That was like very jarring and hurtful to me. Yeah. Also just the way when people would comment on my style was still evolve. I mean, it's always going to be evolving, but I think visually, I'm much more stylish and put together and kind of like more conceived now as Rosé, but a few years ago I was still blossoming, and so some of the looks were fantastic and some were a bit of a miss, and when it's a miss, oh my god, the internet is such a scary place.
Could you tell before it went on the internet, like you showed up and you said, oh no, this isn't like... Could you feel it as you were leaving the day? You said, "Oh no," or did you think?
No. I knew which ones were a slay, and I knew which ones were not good. And and Dusty talked about this when Dusty was on the pod. It's like there's just you have a limited amount of time, and it's a whirlwind for both the girls getting ready to go and the designers like that they're hiring to do work for them. And it's some things get delivered like last minute. Like there were some things that arrived to me with no time to improve or amend. And there were two looks that I was like, oh my God, this is nothing like the sketch, or this is going to get torn apart. And I kind of just had to be like, I will figure it out. And I did, luckily.
Yeah.
And again, luckily for me, when I looked not my best, that happened to be like a week where it was like a improv acting challenge or something, which I had slayed. So I wasn't compromised to be like eliminated, even though I looked terrible.
I think what's so hard about drag is there's a degree you have to have a big ego, like present a big ego. There's not a lot of like insecure drag queens. Like if you put on a bad dress, I think I'd be like a drag queen, like the quiet drag queen in the back.
Yeah.
Drag queens, you don't have to. I say that joke. I know I'm a lot. Once I did a show with a drag queen, she told me to take it down a notch.
Yeah.
But I think if I like, you have to really just. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Let's go on to our next segment.
This has gotta stop.
This has gotta stop.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. This has gotta stop for us.
Yeah. Wait, I wrote some down. I was so inspired earlier while I was at Sephora. Because I was on I had my AirPods in and I was on the phone having like an important business discussion with a designer for the show that I'm about to leave and do in a week. And they're just getting like stocking up for tour, getting like skincare products that I need a refill on. I know exactly what I'm getting. It's like, to me, it's like very clear in a shop like Sephora where it's just like, I mean, you get lost and you don't know what you're looking for sometimes as a customer. I know exactly what I fucking need when I go into a makeup store or like and so I felt like I looked so like focused and like I knew what I was doing. And this bitch would not stop. Like she was like just like it was overkill with the hey, can I help you? Like, hey, can I help you find? Hey, you need? And I'm literally like yelling on the phone. And so I finally just looked at her. I was like, I'm on the phone. Like, I'm so sorry, but like, where are you? So that needs to fucking stop.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, leave me goddamn alone. I know that it's your job, but like, I promise you, I'm going to come and find you if I need some help. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a much clearer way to decipher whether a person seems like they need help or not. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's a degree where I'll tie it into mine because I went to the AT&T store today, and I'm getting my screen replaced. The cover of the screen, it cracked because I dropped it when I was mad about this box, and as the person's replacing, another guy's trying to do sales tactics on me, and I'm trapped. And I'm trapped.
Yeah.
But this is the way he does it, and it drove me nuts. It's about taste. It's about so he goes like, so you watch any streamers? And you're like, what the
Where's
fuck
this
is going
going?
on? And I'm like, Netflix. He's like, oh yeah, any show you've been watching recently? And I was like, Succession. He goes, you ever watch it on the go? You ever like need to like download it? And I'm like, just say what you're gonna fucking say.
Yeah.
But he was like, he wanted me to trap, like as if I'm so stupid to be like, oh really? Oh yeah, I do need that.
Yeah.
And he did that while I was trapped with this person putting on the screen, which now I'm suspecting they're doing it slower than they need to. And I made clear,
Just to sell you
I said
something?
we are in a rush, but I'll come back. I'll talk to you. And this is how fucking loser I am. He eventually goes like, let me get your number so I can call. And I go, okay. And I give this motherfucker my fucking phone
real
number.
phone number?
I'm going to deal with this later. I'm going to ignore this call. I'm going to ignore 10 of these calls now.
Oh.
And it's just like, I don't have the strength to be like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's all right. And it's the same. There's no taste. They're just like, they probably need the money, and he has a family to feed, and I should be nice and probably just buy the plan to help him.
Yeah.
But it's no taste. No, it's just I'm gonna shoot it out until someone buys.
Also at Sephora, I literally had like my arms were full. I had every product that was on the shelf. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Do I need
Yeah.
help? I'm buying everything already.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is a sleigh of a sale for you. Like, you don't need to interfere.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to be like, no, and like put stuff back on the shelf. No, I
Do
changed
they
my
get a
mind.
negative commission? They say, hey, you heard that one. You got this stuff?
Yeah, this is very specific to. I think I did similar, connected to the last one I did. This goes up. Okay, the MTA. Listen, you put this out. You put these signs out. You print signs out and post them everywhere, saying this is when service is going to stop. This is when it is. 9:45 Friday nights. Right? We all know this. We see this 9:45 Friday night thing. Okay, Titanic the musical. It gets out 8:55 on Friday nights, okay? I'm running for that L train. Catch it just fine, okay? I'm getting to 14th Street and getting that A train 9:05, usually 9:05. It's not 9:45 yet, okay? 9:45 is when it's supposed to stop going past 168th Street, okay? This is multiple weekends. This is happening every weekend, and we're all just letting it happen. That they stop the service an hour before. They stop it. Change it. Say it's done at 9. Just say it's done at 9.
Yeah.
You're never gonna, because these people, they don't want to do it. I get it. I feel for them. I don't know. The apathy of the MTA. It just drives you insane.
The communication is terrible.
And just change it to 9.
Yeah.
It's never going past. Every time now, 3 weeks in a row, they stop it and I have to get a one train. I have to do it, or I just get a cab.
I went into the MTA yesterday. I guess it's been closing. Everything's been closing late at night or whatever. I went through the turnstile. I'm waiting. No train's coming for about 18 minutes. I go back to the turnstile. They've put a tape across the turnstile, letting no one know to go in.
Yeah.
You don't put up the tape until you peek in, see if there's anyone else still there.
Yeah.
You're going to just
Assholes.
leave me there to have to...
Assholes. And your bag is full of taxidermy mice. It's like, it is not a good situation. You know, I think, Russell, like, it's so funny. I knew you were going to talk about either this or audience members, because in the 6 months that I've been getting to know you, the two things that really grind Russell's gears are the fucking MTA, or goddamn audience members who aren't having a fucking good time.
I know. I do really get so mad about it. It is funny how
It's
mad
a real problem.
Oh, you don't get mad at bad audience members?
Listen, I've had to adjust expectations. If I got mad at every bad audience I had,
I get mad when it's kind of bad and everyone else feels like they're making me feel crazy that I'm overreacting to how bad it is. Like, I feel like sometimes people are like, it's not that bad. And I'm like, but it is. They're not having fun. Like,
I usually base my opinion on the audience off of your opinion because I like don't even. I mean, when I was in Titanic, I got like a little like 10-minute break in the dressing room while Russell was on stage doing. If you have not seen Titanic, Russell as Ruth, as Rose's mother, has this show-stopping, incredible acting scene where he just tears poor Rose to shreds, and it's so fucking funny. But that's really the point where I would be like, okay, if this audience feels shitty, like surely Russell can like reel them in by that point. Like surely Russell can get them together. So like after Russell like descends and for the stage and comes down to the dressing room like in a full sweat, just like heavy breathing. I'm like, I look over and I'm like, how are they? Hey babe, was it
and
okay?
you just shake. Not tonight.
sometimes I'm like, the best case scenario, I'm like, they're great. And it's like fine. And Daddy's not going to be mean to everyone. But worst case, I'm like, fuck this crowd. No, do you know how I can tell? My confirmation now is Jenny, the sound girl. She
Love Jenny.
Will sometimes. Well, listen. She sometimes maybe we're all getting a little too comfortable. Jenny, I hope you're listening to this. Jenny sometimes will be like, oh, what's wrong with that crowd out there?
Oh yeah,
After my scene, I'm like, okay, Jenny, I already had it in my head. I didn't need you to like confirm that I didn't do very well tonight. Like that kind of thing.
Jenny just wants to be your friend.
No, I know. I like
she
Jenny.
loves you. She admires you.
No.
She wants to join in the fun.
No, I love Jenny.
Paige, do you ever this has got to stop?
I do. This is kind of like belated, but going back into the office for people who had remote jobs that do not need to be in office.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is because like there are places that are trying to build like office culture, which I don't think is a huge priority, but it's more so just like consider the time it takes for somebody to get ready in the morning, for somebody to commute to and from work, and the time that like you're losing to have like a normal like work-life balance and what that means like to the business at large. Or like as an employee, I felt very disgruntled because I was losing 3 hours each day. They weren't compensating me for the transportation costs nor like paying me to be on the clock to get to and from those places. So, and then all of it was just so that I could listen to somebody coughing across the desk from me, or so that I could be in the bathroom. The bathroom situation was weird. It was like 10 stalls, all gender bathroom. But then like I'd run into my boss in there, and like that's a different level of like knowing somebody that I don't want to know.
Office
at work.
Sure.
intimacy.
Yeah, I don't want that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. So it was like stalls and then a big sink area.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see anybody in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to poop it's away from my colleagues.
I've completely
coworkers.
changed my footwear choices so that I'm unrecognizable beneath the stall. You know what I mean?
The nice thing about these stalls is that they were like floor to ceiling, so like I'll give them credit for
Ooh,
that.
I like that.
Oh,
Okay, now
that
we're
is
talking.
nice. Okay.
Now we're
But-
talking.
If it was soundproof too, you
And
could.
it's just 10, so you don't have to you don't have to do one of those like as you're opening, they're going in.
Right.
Yeah.
10. It
But-
would be weird if you did.
Yeah.
There's 9 empty stalls.
Sometimes at Titanic, I go to the musician's bathroom,
I didn't even know that existed.
and I feel bad that I lock the door so they can't get into it. Because I'm like, if I'm going there, it's because I'm pooping.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
No, I think we all have like a secret Titanic pooping place.
yeah. Well, because
All
you
of
can't.
you, how many places
Well,
are
you
there
can't
to
poop in the men's
I
dressing
mean,
room. We
you
don't
can
smell
poop
it.
anywhere.
Sure.
But I didn't poop in the men's dressing room.
No, never.
No, never.
Not even like in the afternoon if you're there early. Like it's just like you don't
No.
want anyone to arrive and smell shit.
No.
Like what the fuck?
People are stiff like, I guess Russell finally tried poppers.
Well, I was gonna say like at work like where we were, it's like someone would come in the bathroom if I was shitting, they'd be like, Rosé, Ross, because the whole room would smell like poppers. Obviously that's what I was doing.
Wait, the poppers smells on the way out too?
No, you don't like ingest it. What?
You said the poop smelled like poppers?
No, I was just kidding.
You're
Okay.
making a joke, Gianmarco.
You can't. I have such little information about this. You say this, suddenly 1,000 straight people think that you poop poppers.
I am right. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt that you know exactly what this is like.
I think you're giving the benefit of the doubt. 1,000 straight people are listening to this.
Let's go to our final segment.
You better count your blessing.
All right, we're a little short on time, so real quick, do a blessing.
You can skip me.
Don't say something though.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
You said we're running short on time.
Yeah. Well, quick blessing.
Quick blessing is that there's a string or like a group of like grocery stores in Brooklyn called Mr. Plum, like Mr. Kiwi, Mr. Berry, Mr. whatever, Mr. Fruit Name. And there's like a really cheap, like a really affordable produce place. And like since I've been unemployed, I've had actually time to like make vegetables and like eat fruit or just eat better in general. And I feel like those grocery stores are an essential like lifeline to the communities that they're in. And also just like when you eat better, you feel better.
Hell yeah.
Like all of that stuff. So I'm very thankful that I don't have to pay like crazy prices at Whole Foods or any other grocery store like in Brooklyn where it's just not conducive for a healthy lifestyle. So very thankful.
I'm gonna go there next time.
Yeah.
Mr. All called different Mr.
Mr. Fruit Name.
Fine.
You're saying it's a fruit name.
Yeah.
It's not called Mr. Fruit.
Like
No,
Mr.
no.
Banana, Mr. Apricot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. I'll check
Nice.
it out. Russell, do you have a blessing?
Yes, I have two people. One, Rosé. Listen, I'm very thankful for you. It was so nice on Sunday to do that show with the people leaving and see you out there. And I'm just so grateful my Titanic experience you will be such a part of that in my memory. And I'm just so thankful for that. I just had so much fun doing that.
I love
I
you.
feel
That's
so strange without all of you
sweet.
there right now.
I'm
But,
sure, but it'll
be
change is
great.
good, and
Yes,
yeah, transitions
exactly,
are hard. So
exactly. So, but I'm thankful that we got to do what we got to do.
Thank
and
you.
and then my other one is Tova. I just feel like she's been doing. I'm just really happy with all the work and what we're working on some things, and
Sure.
I'm very thankful for her.
Well, with the writer's strike,
know.
she's got a lot of time to focus on you, buddy.
Gianmarco's girlfriend is my manager.
oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
My blessing. There's something very cool. Now I've been doing stand-up comedy this long. I sometimes go to smaller shows or like a random bar show, and like there'll be these young like 21-year-old comics or 18, and like it's cool to walk into spaces and they're like, "Thank you so much for doing the show," and I would happily do it. But it's
You
just
should have
like
seen the shows you
they're-
used to do. He would.
Yeah. But with stand-up, I think there is like a real, you're disrespected, and so you stand-up, you constantly are disrespected, and then like you feel people like give you so much love and thank that you're there, and those moments of like a young comic being super sweet and being like, "Thank you so much for doing this show." It's very nice and it's heartwarming. Except for the one who said like, "I've been such a fan of you since I was in high school," and that made me feel.
Oh, that's fine.
Rosé, do you have a blessing? I'm sorry. Yes.
No,
please.
I do. It's so cute because mine was gonna be Russell. So I'll lead into that. Just that's like part of the Titanic mental illness is that we all like secretly love life. But no, Russell, seriously, you've impacted my life so much. I've learned so much from you as a comedian, as an actor. Like I can't believe when I told you this the other day, but like when I first saw the show and first met you, I was so intimidated and nervous like by your talent and your presence on stage. I was obsessed with you, and I immediately was like, I want to be that person's friend. And then, like I said the other day, then I found out you were straight, and I changed my mind. But it still worked out.
And you thought I didn't like you at first.
Oh yeah,
You told me that.
yeah. Well, probably because you didn't.
No, I did. I just am quiet. I think people
I
think
know.
that sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like more. I'm not as friendly.
There's frequently I go, Russell doesn't like me. I don't think.
Toxic trait of mine.
Well, thank you so much. Now, our last thing for our Patreons, I really do love doing this. We're gonna, if you're a member of the Patreon, again, patreon.com/downside, only $5 a month. Bonus episodes, support the podcast, live episodes, my comedy special, The Rats Are in Me. We're gonna, everyone who's a member, your name is gonna flash at the bottom of the screen while Russell tells us a joke, a thick joke. This is from Jackie Martling's book, Jackie Jokes.
A thick joke.
And really, yeah, I mean, it's
big one?
Yeah.
Okay, it's harvest time, and the old Italian farmer and his teenage daughter load all the vegetables onto their horse-drawn wagon, go to town, sell them, and are on their way home when bandits come riding up, shooting their guns in the air. The farmer's holding a huge wad of bills, and he says, "Oh no, he's Italian. Oh no, I'm a work so hard, and now they're gonna take all of my money. Oh Maria, what I gonna do?" Maria says, "Papa, give me the money." He hands her the wad of bills. She takes it, turns away from him, lifts up her dress, and stuffs it up inside her twat.
Oh, it's Sicily.
The bandits stop the wagon and make the farmer and his daughter get down. They search them and the wagon, but they don't find anything. Mad as hell, they take off with the wagon and the horses. The Italian farmer is crying his eyes out, and he says, I'm a work so hard, now we lose everything. Maria says, Papa, don't cry. I saved the money. He lifts up her dress and slurp, pulls the wad of bills out of her snatch. The farmer says, oh, Maria, you saved the money. I'm so happy. Then he thinks a second and he starts to cry again. Maria says, Papa, I saved the money. Who are you crying now? The farmer says, Maria, if we had brought your mama, we could have saved the wagon and the horses. He would have put everything up the pussy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's clear.
I switched into a different dialect at the end.
Yeah, it felt like you went a little Scottish. I think in honor of our guest here.
Oh, I heard Sebastian the Crab from Little Mermaid.
Jamaican.
This is The Downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.